everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Black Impact Podcast. I am Tiffany, your host, and today's guest is Renee Anorue. She is a licensed clinical social worker, certified in herbalism, speaking, and the founder of Core Therapy and Healing. With more than over 10 years of experience, Renee helps individuals navigate anxiety, depression, trauma, grief, and emotional wellness through culturally informed and holistic approach to healing. She is passionate about helping people manage stress, prioritizing mental health, and creating substantial wellness practices that support healing from the inside out, guys. Please help me welcome my guest, Renee. Hey, Renee.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for
thank you, thank
joining me
you.
today.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited actually to be here and to talk to you and your audience.
Yes, thank you. We need your expertise, girls. So let's get into these
Oh,
questions,
okay,
okay?
let's go. I'm ready.
Okay. So, what's something people do every single day that is secretly increasing stress levels?
Mm. There's probably a lot, if I can be honest, but
Okay.
the first thing that comes to mind, I would say working off of a or living in a like reactive or like survival mode. I think a
Okay.
lot of people kind of, you know, bring out that and promote that hustle culture. You got to go go go, you got
Yeah.
to do the entrepreneurship. Post pandemic, everybody's being an entrepreneur, which I love, but people are wearing so many hats these days, feeling like I need to make money, I got to support the family, I got to do all these things. And so what ends up happening is people are again living in survival mode, and you're probably functioning, you're probably
Mm-hmm.
getting by, you're doing all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are you even recognizing what's going on internally? Are you recognizing what's going on mental health wise, physical health wise, financially, spiritually, all the ways, right? So I
Yeah.
think that when people are just always on the go, 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 they're not taking the time to sit and check in with their bodies, check in with their minds, and see what's really going on. So I think, yeah, that like survival mode, reactive mode, as opposed to being more intentional with how they're spending their time and their days. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. We definitely operate out of survival mode, reactive mode, always on the go, go, go because of the economy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think I just think that it's naturally programmed into us as we have to do this. We have to be on the go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's nonstop. We have to because we want so much for ourselves and
Yeah.
we're just trying to strive to be like better and because
Hmm.
at the end of the day we need money to survive,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
but
and like you said, it's been ingrained in us for so long. You got to go to college, you got to get straight A's, you got to make all the money, you got to be the CEO, you got to do all these things because we do
Mhm.
have to, work harder than some of our other counterparts to get to those levels. So it's
Yes.
understandable that a lot of people, like you said, the economy as well, inflation, gas prices been fluctuating all crazy throughout 2026 and, even last year as well. So it's understandable that a lot of people do it. It's just ultimately not healthy.
Right, I
Yeah.
totally agree. It's definitely not happy, and I think that switch doesn't happen for you until you start that journey of paying attention to your body and paying attention
Mhm.
to what actually is important, because knowing that these jobs don't care about
Yeah.
you at all
Yeah.
and if your body isn't working properly, then you're not going to be able to do that job or
Right.
show up for certain things. So
Right.
I think once people start to realize, like, hello, like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing good today, I need some rest,
Yeah, yeah, I need to take my PTO or whatever it is.
yes.
And to your point about jobs not caring about us, and some jobs do, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
all,
not
but I
all
always
jobs.
I always use the example of what was it a few years back, the CEO of United Healthcare was like
Mhm.
gunned down, I believe, somewhere in Manhattan, and literally within 48 hours, his job was posted on Indeed or LinkedIn or something like that. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he put his
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears into that position, right?
Company,
So
right.
remembering that life is short, and yes, we
Yeah.
want to do better than our parents did. We want to provide,
Yeah.
you know, if you have children, you want to provide for your children, you want to provide for yourself, right? You want to do all these
Right.
things, but like you said, you're probably decreasing your ability to do that as effectively as you probably want to, because you're
Absolutely.
not, like you said, taking the time to check in with your body. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Whew. Listen, I had a coworker at my previous job who
Mhm.
had passed away,
Mm.
and it just really made me like very disgusted with that company on how they treated her when it came to like equipment and like
Mhm.
access, and
Okay.
even her family, like pressing her family out to get like the company's equipment and stuff like that. Like,
While
of
they're
course they
grieving,
right.
and
Like you didn't
yeah,
even give them even no time to grieve their lost loved
hmm,
one. And
yeah,
even us to grieve our lost coworkers.
at
Like,
coworkers, yeah,
you know what
hmm.
I'm saying? It was nothing like I just think that people I don't even know where that even comes from. Like,
Money hungry. They're just like, the job needs to get done. We got to keep going. We got to keep rolling. We got to keep making our money. So we need our equipment. Right now, I'm not excusing that or justifying it, but that happens all of the time. If I could be honest with
yeah.
you, that's part of the reason why I went into my own, you know, launched my own private
Mm,
practice, right? Working for some nonprofits. I've seen that. I've seen that. I don't care what we got to do. We got to make the money.
yeah,
We got to, right? And I was seeing a lot of unhealthy, toxic patterns that I
absolutely.
was just ultimately not comfortable with. So I
Yeah.
decided I'm out. I'm going to launch my own private practice so I can make sure that I'm doing things in a way that's more culturally informed, more client centered, and good for my sanity as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. I commend you on that because
thank you.
starting a business, entrepreneurship, starting a business, girl, you doing it,
Woo!
but it is hard, babes.
It
Okay.
is, yes.
It is so hard. Yeah, same reason for me. I left my job because it was my mental health was not in it anymore, and I was trying to push myself to do it, but I had to listen to my body and also
Yeah.
God to be like, no, let this go. Because
Yeah.
when it start
100%.
eating at you,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you gotta
You feel
release
it.
that.
You feel
Yeah,
it. Right.
right.
Exactly.
Gotta let that go. But congratulations to you and
Thank you.
starting
Thank
your
you.
healing company. And we love that. We need it because mental health is very important.
It's very important. It's very real for everyone.
Yes. How can someone tell the difference between intuition, anxiety, and a trauma response?
Mm.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Yeah. So intuition, anxiety, and a trauma response. So I'll start with the intuition and the anxiety.
Okay.
I'll say that, like, anxiety is all up here. Anxiety is
Right.
cognitive, right? Anxiety is based off of your thoughts. It's based off of the thought patterns that you have. It can be based off of trauma responses potentially, right? But it's a lot of cognitive patterns and activities that are happening, right? It's all through the
Mm-hmm.
brain. And so I kind of see that as, like, the anxiety is like, your head, but the intuition is your gut,
Right.
right? You ever feel like that gut feeling where it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
right, you're not, it's and it's the difference. How I'm differentiating the two is that anxiety can tell you things that are probably irrational,
Mhm.
things that are negative, right? There's something that I work with a lot of my majority of my clients actually, with. It's a therapeutic intervention modality. It's called CBT, right? Cognitive
Okay.
behavioral therapy. And so what that is it's basically the practice of seeing how people think, which impacts how
Mhm.
they feel, which impacts how they behave, right? And so,
Mhm.
and we all, I don't care how old you are, how you were raised, nationality, religious beliefs, whatever, we all experience that pattern. Thoughts that lead to
Yeah.
feelings that lead to behaviors, right? We're all human.
Mhm.
Now, CBT focuses on the negative and irrational thoughts that lead to negative and irrational feelings that lead to negative and irrational behaviors, right? So
Okay.
I talk to a lot of clients again about, like, focusing on their cognitions, because a lot of the negative thoughts lead to the anxiety, right? And then you have some type of anxious response. So,
Right.
long story short, in regards to the anxiety, again, it's more so cognitive processes that you're overthinking, you're ruminating, you're perseverating, you're doing all of that. Where intuition is more of you're not necessarily ruminating over it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
it's not based off of past experiences. It's based off of a feeling, how can I say this? A feeling that just feels natural. It feels authentic, it
Mm-hmm.
feels genuine, right? And it feels undeniable at the same time as well, right? So that's kind of how I differentiate those two. Now, trauma responses, I feel like are completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it can be a little connected to anxiety, but trauma responses are connected to that trauma, right? So it's a reactive response to something that we've experienced, right? We all have heard of like PTSD and things like that, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that PTSD is like for severe trauma, severe
Mm-hmm.
assault or physical or sexual trauma, or like environmental fires or earthquakes or trauma related to that. But PTSD can also be from relationships, right? Toxic
Yeah,
relationships, right?
absolutely.
It can be
Yes.
from toxic workplace environments. It can
Yeah.
be from, you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be these, large scale traumas. It can be things that people actually experience on a day to day, right? So in terms of trauma responses, again, they're basically a reactive behavior to something that you have experienced that was traumatic for you, and now you're responding in a way that may be irrational, that
Yeah.
may be misaligned with the current situation, but you're
Yeah.
still responding in that way based off of it's. Sometimes it can be like a protective factor, right? Like I was
Hmm.
traumatized in this previous
Yes.
experience, so now let me react this way to protect myself from re-traumatizing myself, right?
Right.
So in a sense, a person can have anxiety that's tied to trauma
From
responses,
response. Yep.
right? In terms of
Hmm.
intuition, I think intuition is completely different from the two. But that's how I would kind of, I guess, differentiate between the all three. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that you separated it and explained every single one from a very specific detail. Because,
Hmm.
yes, I think a lot of people don't know how to tell the difference between the two.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not saying myself, but sometimes people put it all together so they don't really know which one they're,
Right.
reacting out of. So,
Right.
yeah, I have done that in the past for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, and if I could be honest, I always, like to say that, to my clients or anybody that I speak to, even in my personal life, because people think that therapists think that we're perfect and we're above
Yeah,
all, but
no.
I'm human,
Right.
so
Right.
I have anxiety, right? So I'm allowed to self-diagnose because I can, I diagnose others, so I
Yeah.
can diagnose myself. But I'm aware that I have
Yeah.
anxiety. I'm aware that I'm an overthinker. I'm aware that I sometimes ruminate, right? I'm aware
Yeah.
that sometimes, I may have my own trauma responses, right? I have my own history with trauma.
Yes.
And so, we all experience it, right? It's just being aware.
Yeah.
Awareness is the biggest key to all of it.
And I don't necessarily think that those things are bad things, right? Because I have
Absolutely.
anxiety, sometimes I overthink, and
Hmm.
those aren't bad things. It's just that I feel like you hold yourself to a certain standard and you want to achieve a goal or something. So
Hmm.
that's when that comes in,
Yeah.
that thinking process comes in. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I just think that you have to sit down and ask yourself those questions on
Hmm.
why are you feeling this type of way, what's triggering this response or making you respond in that type of way that's making you have anxiety or
Hmm.
overthinking. And then you really have to sit with yourself, and I guess you have to develop that let go
Hmm.
mentality, because
Hmm.
that will hinder you, or that will make you keep going on a cycle of that,
Absolutely.
and then that's when it becomes very unhealthy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, again, what you were saying is the self awareness to even be
Yeah.
aware, or even to look within, right? And say, okay, well, let me
Yes.
reflect. How have I been responding? Why have I been responding that way? And a lot of people do struggle with that. So that's
Yes.
something that I always talk to people about as well. Like, when you're having interactions, with others at work, even by yourself, emotionally, emotional reactions, emotional reactivity, check in with yourself. Why
Yeah.
did that make me feel that way? Why did that
Right.
upset me? Why did that make me respond that way? Right. So checking in with how we are responding in our day-to-day, interactions, is the first step,
Absolutely.
awareness, right? And then
Yeah.
working on that afterwards. It's ongoing process,
Growing
right?
process.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
the reflections and mental health care and all this stuff is not you do it for a certain time and then you stop. This is
Right.
an
It's
ongoing,
ongoing.
like, you got to keep drinking your water every day,
Yeah.
ongoing thing. You got
Right.
to, exercise. That's an ongoing. These are things that we have to just continue
Have to
to do
do.
for the longevity of our lives.
Yeah. And I think that's the scariest part about mental health is because I don't necessarily think that people don't want to be better for themselves. I just think that they're
Mhm.
scared to dig deep dive, face those fears or face what of those things that's coming up for them. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people don't want to sit in that self-reflection and figure out why I do certain things or why, because then once you go down that journey you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
why I do this is why and it's like, oh, it
Mhm.
all makes sense. But then it's like, dang, it's kind of like a thing, like you start to like, I don't want to say like get mad at yourself. What's the word I'm
Mhm.
trying to use? Like you, because you don't want to behave that way. You don't want to be
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, oh, I've been doing this for so long. You start realizing,
Mhm.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, and I think so. I do agree that a lot of people struggle with, like you said, sitting in those emotions. That can be difficult,
Mm-hmm.
right? To know that, if you go to therapy, it's going to be some difficult conversations. You might cry in the session or after the session, right? And so, yeah, a lot of people struggle with that piece, but that's part of healing, right? If you're not
Yes.
ready to sit in that,
Yeah.
you're avoiding, and at the
Right.
end of the day, you're not going to
Oh,
be able to
you're
have.
avoiding.
I mean, I've got to call a spade, right? And
Yeah.
I get it, right? Sometimes it may not be okay, this is not the right season for me to do that work, maybe because, let's say seasonally jobs fluctuate, right? How busy jobs can be. I have a lot of clients and myself as well, actually, throughout the seasons. Summer, it kind of dies down a little bit. Wintertime, it
Mm-hmm.
dies down, but back to school season, the beginning of the year, it's
Mm-hmm.
ramping up for me, right? And so for other people, if they notice that, like, okay, I have a lot going on right now, it's going to be hard for me to do that work. Absolutely fine. But when you realize, okay, things are slowing down, right? I'm not as busy physically, mentally, right? The kids, if you got kids, they're settled in their sports and school and stuff like that. We have to do that work because yes, we can look back at the past and say what we didn't do and how we
Mm-hmm.
responded poorly. The thing that's
Yeah.
good about that is that you're even recognizing it,
Recognizing it. Right.
right? And then what are you doing after to change it, right? Because if we're
Right.
not recognizing it at all, that's a problem.
Yeah. Right.
If we're recognizing it but not doing anything to change it, that's also a problem. But we want to recognize and then implement the change after.
Absolutely. Don't become avoiding, guys.
Hmm.
Absolutely. What is the biggest lie we've been told about being strong?
Mm, I like this
Girl.
question. Yeah, because I actually did a panel. I was on a panel in June for Men's
Mhm.
Mental Health Month for an organization in the DMV area. They're called Art Bay.
Mhm.
I forget what the BAE stands for, but they're the organization that focuses on the connection between art, artistry, creativity, culture, community, but also mental health as well. And so
Mhm.
on this panel, we were talking about like the strong friend and, being resilient and all this other stuff and how, you know, it can actually be negative, right? And so
Yeah.
what I was saying on that panel is that, it's been kind of like we mentioned before, it's been ingrained in us to kind of like be strong,
Be
be
strong.
independent,
Yeah.
do all these things, right? Like I was raised by a single mom, right? So with
Mhm.
three kids, I saw her working 2 to 3 jobs, like doing all the things, right? And so now my
Yeah.
mentality is that
Yeah.
work, 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 do all the things, right, to support myself and, be financially stable and stuff. Being the strong black woman or the strong, black individual or the strong individual in general, right? being
Mhm.
resilient was how it used to be seen. It's resilient. You're
Yeah.
strong.
Yes.
Proud of you. You're accomplishing everything. Like, good job, right? I literally was talking to a client yesterday, and she was like, "I don't even see this as accomplishments because I don't have time to sit and recognize it as an accomplishment." And I'm just like,
Ex-
you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, being strong can be a good thing. But like I mentioned before, if we're not taking the time to kind of sit and realize, okay, I've been strong for so long, let me take a minute to pause.
yeah.
Let me take a minute to reflect, to check in again with my body, with my mind, right? With my, if
Absolutely.
it's faith, religion,
Right.
spirituality, right? Family, let me check in and see how I'm actually doing. And another piece too is that when you're the strong friend, a lot of your friends don't even realize that you may be sinking because they're so used to you. Oh yeah, she got it. She good. She working. She own her business. She travels all the time. She does this. She does that. Or he, whoever the person is, right?
Mhm.
And so they're not even thinking to check in with you,
Yep.
right? Because you on the outside, right, on the exterior, outwardly, you look fine.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, just because you're functioning and just because you're
Yep.
strong doesn't
Yep.
necessarily mean you're sustaining,
Right.
if that makes
Right.
sense, right? So you could
Yeah.
function, like, for example, I mentioned this during the panel as well, that we've all heard of, functional depression, right?
Mhm.
We've heard of, some people have heard of functional alcoholics. These
Mhm.
people are going to work, they taking care of the kids, they paying the bills,
Yep.
they're doing all the things, but they
Yep.
still have this underlying issue and concern that's not being addressed because for whatever reason, right? And so
Right.
again, going back to being strong, it's kind of like that. You're
Yeah.
doing all the things, you're going to work, you're taking care of the kids, you're paying the bills,
Mhm.
but you're not taking the time to check in with yourself. So something is going unaddressed. Something is being overlooked. Something is being unintentionally avoided, right? And so that's the problem with being too strong is you're not be able to check in with yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, I'm the strong friend. I get
Mhm.
people tell me all the time, "You're so resilient. You have so much strength." Blah. I don't listen. I don't want listen. I don't want that. Okay, I'm tired. I don't want to do none of
Right,
that.
right.
I had a conversation about this on another episode, telling them that my mom raised me. I had a conversation with my mom about my mom raised me to be strong because that's what her
Her mom.
grandparents
Mhm.
instilled in her. And it's like, wow, I had to sit back and ask my mom. I was like, why did you do that to me? Because
Mhm.
girl, like, and
Right?
I'm not trying to like fault her, but I had to really
Helping
a
her
serious
realize.
question, like, why did
Yeah.
you do that to me? Because I
But
don't want to be
and you know what
this.
it is? So like our parents and our grandparents, they only knew what they knew. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because
That's
that was ingrained
yeah.
in them, and like mental health has
Exactly.
grown over the past few
Past
years, right?
years.
Maybe
Yeah.
10, maybe 15 or so years, I want to say, right? And
Yeah.
so
I wouldn't
now,
even give it that much credit. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I feel like
okay,
it's just becoming to be trending
more,
in the
okay.
last maybe 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm saying that just because I've been a therapist for the past over 10 years. So I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of seen
Yeah.
small strides, but I guess it's been bigger
Right.
strides more recently, is what you're saying. And I don't know if
Yes.
that's,
Yes.
due to post pandemic world. I don't know if
I
that's
think.
due to, social media, which I have my issues with social media,
Mm,
but
yeah.
it can be helpful in some regard in terms of making
Yes.
awareness for certain things and mental health wise and stuff like that when there are qualified professionals to do so, because people are
Absolutely.
using mental health, or using social media as a platform when for certain
Or
topics and they're not even qualified in that topic, but that's another story.
right.
But yeah, so probably bigger strides in the most more recent years. But yeah, our parents, grandparents, they didn't, no shade to them, no offense to them, they loved
Right.
us. They ain't know no better.
Yeah.
They didn't know, they did with what they knew.
New.
Right. And so we
Right.
can't fault them. And so now younger generations are knowing more and more about mental health and checking in with
Hmm.
ourselves and attending mental health events and having conversations just like this, which is helping them to again not feel like, okay, well, I need to be strong all the time. That could actually hurt me in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And that's the whole reason why I created this platform, to spread a
Hmm.
wellness. I am not a professional
Hmm.
when it comes to mental health. I'm an advocate because I went through certain experiences,
Right.
and I wanted to be able to talk about certain things and uncomfortable conversations so people can relate to it and be able to speak
Hmm.
on it,
Yes.
right? So
Hmm.
yes, I ain't one of them, okay? We ain't
Well,
gonna get
we
into, but
appreciate you. Yeah,
I ain't
we
one of those.
appreciate you.
Okay. Can your body hold on to stress and trauma even when your mind thinks when it moves on? Well, I
Absolutely.
think
Absolutely. Yeah. So I often talk to my clients about like the mind body connection, right? I'm pretty sure everybody's heard
Mhm.
of that, right? And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people probably like minimize the actual how strong the mind and body connection can be, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think
even
so too.
though a person, because a person can say to themselves, I'm over it, I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm healed, right? Um, and so maybe they're using things to have their mind occupied on other areas, maybe distractions, maybe they're focused on work or their business if they're an entrepreneur, or focused on the kids, so they're not focused on the thing that, was
Yeah.
trauma or whatever they needed healing from. But if you didn't actually do the work, like we mentioned before, your body is probably still going to feel it, right? And that can look like
Mhm.
fatigue, that can look like muscle tension,
Mhm.
that can look like a little bit more emotional, but like hypervigilance, right? That can look
Yes.
like emotional responses to situations, right? Because you say, "Oh, I'm healed from that situation," when you're
Mhm.
actually not, and then boom,
Not right.
you have a similar situation and you respond in a trauma response, like we mentioned before,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Whereas like you don't even realize that you responded that way because you're actually not over the thing that you thought you were over, if that makes sense.
Where do you
So
think
yeah.
where do you think women hold the most stress or
Mm.
trauma in our bodies?
I feel like that's hard because it's different for everybody. I do like to talk to clients about that, like asking them where do they feel, and not just stress or trauma, but like anger,
Right.
overwhelm, other emotions, right? Where they feel it in their bodies. It can be anywhere, honestly. It can be in the chest, it can be in the stomach, it can be in the back, shoulders, hands, right? So it varies per person. So I feel like that's a little hard to answer. But that
Mhm.
is a good question to ask in terms of having people recognize, okay, when I'm more stressed, when I'm more
Yeah.
overwhelmed, where do I feel it in my body? Because a lot of the time when we can, all right, I'll say this. So you ever think about the fact that when you are sick, right, a cold, recovering from surgery, something like that, you're probably bedridden. You're not going outside. You're not doing all the
Mhm.
fun things, right? So your mental might not be in the best space because you're not really doing much. And maybe you're in
Yeah.
pain as well, right?
Right.
Or you're just uncomfortable, sniffling, runny nostrils, and vice versa. If we are depressed, if we are super anxious, if we are overwhelmed, stressed out, you're you might not be as consistent with taking care of your body, right? Eating healthy, exercising, drinking your water. So now your physical is taking a hit. So I say that to say that when the mind is not at its best, the physical isn't. And when the physical
Mhm.
is not at its best, the mind isn't, right? And that's where that
Yeah.
mind body connection is, right? So when a person can, and this isn't 100% the case, but it does help. It does alleviate some things for people. But when a person can tap in and say, okay, you know what, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling it in my hands, for example, right? What's something that you can do with your hands to do like self-soothing, right? Or even if it's
Mhm.
not self-soothing, if you feel it in your back, can you go get a massage, right? Can you, get one of those at-home massagers? I actually have one right here because I sit here in this chair having my sessions throughout the week, and sitting for a long time is not good for your back. So I have a
Oh
back
yeah, for
massager,
sure.
right? So what can you do to alleviate some of that pain that you're feeling in those body parts, which can then, again, not 100%, but a small percentage alleviate some of the emotional strain that you're experiencing, if that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Go get the massages, babes. Do a little twerks.
Listen, I remember actually a little while ago, maybe like 2 or 3 Christmases ago, because I'm from New York originally, and
Mhm.
when I moved out to Maryland, I had some friends come and visit, and we were for Christmas, and we were doing a Secret Santa. And
Mhm.
it was one of those systems where you can enter what gifts you would like, and then your secret
Oh,
Santa
you
can
said
choose.
massage?
We all sent massagers,
Uh,
healing oils, spa treatments. We all sent
yeah.
like things that like, whereas maybe like, 10, 15 years ago, we would have been sending like clothes or
Right.
perfume, like that's
Mhm.
no, we were sending the things to heal our bodies because we're getting
Yes.
older. And yeah, so that was just a funny thing that happened.
Yeah. I don't typically like massages, but I want to go to a. I definitely would love. I love going to spas, but I don't
Mhm.
really like massages for some
That
reason.
that's
Yeah.
okay. When they have like the spas, I actually went to one maybe 2 weekends ago. They have like the jetted pools that they have like the pressure that comes out of the
Yes,
water,
I
and that can
love
kind of be
pools. Girl,
yeah.
put
So
me in the
that's
water
good too.
all day. I want to be in the water. I
Are
want
you
to
a
be. Yeah.
Pisces?
No, I'm a
No.
Capricorn.
Okay, close, kind of close, I
Yeah.
guess. So no, Pisces love them some water. They fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a cold one, but I
Okay.
love water for some
Mhm.
reason. I can't swim, so
Um,
I mean, but a little bit like
all you need
I
is
could
just a little. Just as long as you can,
float.
can just if you can just chill in the water,
I
that's
could
all you really
float.
need. You don't got to be doing dives and all this other stuff. You got
Oh
to do
yeah,
all
no. I just want to sit there, relax, and
that. Hmm.
I don't want to do too much. Yeah, that's me. That's my type of vibe. Like, yeah,
Okay.
I think it's when it comes to like the massage thing. Like, I think I have to find the right person to do it because I
Hmm.
don't like the roughness of it.
Yeah, you got to tell them. Like
Yeah,
usually when I go, they're like, is this okay? And I'll be like, softer, softer. It's too hard because
yeah,
sometimes I've had experiences where I've left massages and I was sore the next day because it went a
yeah,
little too hard.
absolutely.
Yeah, so you just got to tell them.
Don't don't touch me.
Yeah. No deep tissue over here. We don't need
Don't
these Swedish
touch.
massages only. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely not. Okay. What's one behavior society praises that's actually damaging our mental health?
Mhm. I kind of feel like what we were talking about already, like that hustle culture.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
like again, it's
Do you think?
praise.
But wait, hold on. Do you think that? Do you think that society is putting that on us, or we're putting that on ourselves?
Both. Both. And I'm going to say this because I can't even, really describe, and part of the reason why I can't describe is because of HIPAA, but and confidentiality. But I've had clients, young. When I say young, I want to say like late teens, early 20s, like early 20s, like 2021. And they're just like, I'm behind in life. I, haven't started my own business yet.
I used to think that way too, so I get that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
get that.
and it's interesting because I feel like when I was that age, I wasn't even thinking about. I was in college still trying to turn up and have fun. You know what I mean? I was partially thinking
Yeah,
about, okay, what am I going to do? Come graduating at 22. So what am I doing with my life after that? But I just feel like I've seen it more so now
yeah.
where, and I think it's society, I think it's social media that's
Yeah,
putting
I
this
think it's
pressure.
social media.
That's
Yes,
putting, you see
social media.
all these YouTubers and these influencers and these vloggers, and granted, shout out to them for
Yeah.
being able to find something that works for them, and they're finding it to be lucrative. I love that for them, right?
Yes.
But I've seen the negative side of that and how
Yeah.
that impacts the regular typical day-to-day human young adult, and how they're
Mhm.
putting pressure on themselves and feeling like completely discouraged, like I'm
Yeah.
not where I'm far behind in life, I'm not. And I'm just like, you have so much more life to live, you don't even realize it, right? But again, because
Absolutely.
messages are being put out there in TV and social media culturally, right, that they are behind, they're believing that. And then secondarily, they're putting it on themselves. So I think it's initially
It's both.
society and culture,
Yeah.
but then as a secondary effect, it's then themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, because when it comes to society, I feel like this goes for both, right? When I feel like when it comes to women,
Hmm.
oh, you have to, what is it, the geriatric pregnancy, you have to have a
Hmm.
baby within
By
a certain
35.
age, you have to be
Hmm.
married by a certain, like, I feel like all of that comes from them trying to control what we do for our bodies and how we
Hmm.
show up as women, and then that gets implanted into us, so
Yeah,
we're like, oh, we're not, if we're not married or have a career,
something's
or
wrong.
it doesn't look like, then we're doing life all wrong. But
Hmm.
then when you sit back and you start realizing that you're not living for yourself anymore, you
Right.
living for them, and
Everybody,
you're
yeah,
like, hold on,
exactly.
wait,
Hmm.
it's my
I
life.
actually saw this clip. I think it might have been on Instagram. I don't know what it was from. It looked like a big space, an audience where a man had asked a question and a woman responded to it, right? They were both on the microphone. And the man had said something about, oh, my father or my granddaddy said if a woman is in her 30s and she's not married with kids, something's wrong with her. When I tell you this woman read him for Phil, this woman was like, well, tell your daddy or your
Listen,
grandfather that she has goals, that she is trying
yeah,
to create that generational wealth before she even has the kids. She's trying, like,
yeah,
she was going in about the fact that, again, stereotypically and historically, it's been said that, again, you have to do this, you have to make this amount of money, you have to be married at a certain age, you have to do all this stuff. And like you said, it's not because you ever wanted that, but it's
mhm,
because that's what you were told
yeah,
is a valuable person, a valuable
right,
woman or a valuable man is to be able to propose to somebody when you never even went to get married in the first place. A valuable woman is to have
that's
kids.
so true.
Now you unfortunately, I'm
You
sorry,
don't
lose
even
it,
want,
the man
you
or the
don't
kid,
even want them kids.
right? So if I could be fully transparent, like that was me when I was younger, middle school, high school. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be, married with kids by 30, and I'm gonna do all the things, right?
Mhm,
House, white picket fence, all that good stuff. American
mhm,
dream, right? I'm not gonna say my age, but I'm over 30, no husband, no kids,
mhm.
right?
Girl,
And
same.
and honestly,
A
I don't want
dog.
no kids.
I got a
I don't want
dog.
I don't want no kids. I don't even know if I want a pet, if I be real with you, because the
I
responsibility,
I
right?
mean, I get that, because this little baby over here, listen.
Pets are a lot, right? I used to have a cat, and like they're more low maintenance compared to dogs, but just and I say that I just say all this to say that, like, again, I had a goal for myself, a vision for myself that
Yes,
wasn't even it
absolutely.
didn't come from me, right? But
Right.
over the years, I had to unlearn that
Mhm.
expectation of myself and
Yes.
really sit with, do I even really want that for me, right? So I'm a
Yeah.
traveler, right? Haven't been able to do it so far in 2026, but 2025 I went on 5 international trips.
Girl, yes, we love that.
I mean, domestic is cool, but I prefer international, right? So to be able to do that, to have a kid, I know my sister, I got friends, I know people that have kids. They be like, let me check the kids' school schedule. Let me do right. So I'm going on a tangent now about kids and all that stuff. But the point that I'm trying to make is, again, I had goals and a vision that I had for my future that wasn't based off of me. It was based on society. It was based on
Right.
culture. It was based on just tradition, right? And so we have to be able to now tap in with ourselves and, again, see, like, what is it that I actually want for me, right? Not what other
Mhm.
people are doing that are my age, right? Because there's also
Right.
comparison culture, right? That's another
Yes.
thing. Like, I've had clients where they're just like, oh, this person, let's say, there's a person that is in the beauty industry. Let's say they're like a
Mhm.
cosmetologist, or they do nails, hair, whatever.
Mhm.
And they see someone else that has a cosmetology business that's blowing up, right, on
Mhm.
social media, and now this person is just like, well, why isn't my business blowing up? So now they're feeling defeated, they're feeling
Mhm.
competent, they're feeling a lot of self-doubt, they're feeling all these things, which everybody's journey is going to be different at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
that comparison culture, and I partially blame social media for that,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely for that.
again, I said there's some positives to social media, but also some negatives. But
Negatives, right.
that happens as well. So it's a lot of stuff tied into one. But yeah, we just have to really think about, like, what do we want for
That we want.
ourselves? Yeah, and really try to figure that out.
Yeah, that self-comparison, girl, listen, let me tell you
Exactly.
something. You have to get off social media,
Mm.
because look, kudos to all them people who are flourishing, doing good. We want you guys to succeed. We
Mhm.
want to see all the good things, right? But once you
Yes.
start self comparing yourself to other people and their experiences, you're gonna
You
have
go
to
down a
pull
rabbit
you got to
hole.
pull back. You got to
Hmm.
pull back, wrap that up. Yeah, no,
Right.
because
Exactly.
I mean, I had come accustomed to doing that, and then I had to realize, like, hold on, wait, what are we doing here? Why are
Right.
you doing that to yourself?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And why you don't even want to even do that.
Right. You want to
You
do,
know what I'm
your
saying?
lane is over here. So why are you
Right,
trying to, put yourself in somebody else's lane? Like,
right,
give yourself some grace, give yourself some time. You can, look at what other people are doing and see, just to make sure you're not reinventing the wheel, right? See what
right.
is effective, right? Maybe get a
Yeah.
mentor if you need to. Cool. If you want to grow in certain areas, but not feeling like you need to do everything how everybody else did it and in the
Yeah.
time frame that everybody else did it.
So this question, I have been asked this question so many times, like, oh, like who do you inspire to be? And I sat back and I had to realize, like, I don't inspire to
Nobody.
be anybody. Like
Body.
everything that I'm doing, I'm creating it myself.
Hmm.
I don't want to be like anybody else. Like I look at
Exactly.
other people and all these people have like, oh, they're inspired to be like Obama, Issa Rae, Rihanna.
Hmm.
And I look back, I'm like, I don't even get inspired by, like, I'm glad that they're
Yeah.
doing the things. I'm like, no, because
I
my
think
life is different.
they can be inspiration in terms of, especially like a Issa Rae, for example, right? A Quinta Brunson, like starting from the
Yeah,
bottom, now we here type of mentality, right? So that can be
right.
a motivation, but not in terms of inspiring to be like them. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
this is something that I hear all the time, like especially as a mental health therapist, like what's your niche, right? Which I don't
yeah.
really like niching down because mental health is so
Mm-hmm.
broad that, like,
Right.
okay, let's say if I only work with clients on anxiety, okay, cool, so now I'm only trained in anxiety, but now that client is coming to me with trauma, and I have
Exactly.
no training in trauma, or grief, and I have no training in grief, or ADHD, right? So I have to be well versed in everything, not
Yes.
everything, not everything. I can't know everything, right? The brain can
Right, right.
only, hold so much. But what was I going to say? Oh, I'm losing my train of thought. So
Girls
what's
don't
your
have, it's
niche?
okay.
What's your niche? And oh, I'm losing my train of thought. What's your niche? And oh, what sets you apart from everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you have to be different, right? If you're
Yeah,
just like everybody else, now you're part of the picking. Like if there's, 10 options, now there's 11. You
yep,
want to be the one that is like,
yep.
oh, she or he does this differently. I like that, right? So
But
what sets
then
you apart?
trying to prove that you're the one could be damaging to your mental health because you're
That too.
steady performing. You're
That
steady trying
too.
to prove yourself. So
Too. Yep.
yeah, like I want to be the one for
Mhm.
me.
Right.
I don't need validation from all of you. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, I do want you to take a liking of what I'm saying and how
Mhm.
I'm showing up, but I don't need it,
Right.
okay? Because I
Right.
know who I am. But
And
I
at the
think
end
that,
of the day, somebody's going to resonate. Like
yeah,
somebody's going to, relate to what you're saying, support what you're saying, and those will be your people, right? So you will
yes,
build your
right,
crowd, you will build your community just based off of being your true authentic self and not trying to be
yes,
someone else.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Listen, what she said, y'all. What she said. Do you think people are genuinely on a healing journey, or do you think healing has become a trend that people identify
Ew.
without actually doing the work?
That part.
Because I have said this
That
so many
part.
times. I had to ask somebody, like, are you literally you just saying you doing the work? And I think men do this too. I
Hmm.
think men do this. Like they're
Yeah.
saying they're healing or they're acting like they're healing, but
Hmm. Doing
they
anything.
just doing anything to criticize how women show up or how they look, or not all of them, okay? I don't
Hmm.
listen, not all of them, but some. I don't think people are actually doing the
Yes.
work.
I absolutely agree. So I think it's more so of the latter, right? So the fact that people are turning healing, self-care into a trend as
Yes.
opposed to really understanding what it is, right? So you can
Yes.
you can throw out terms like, again, healing or what are some terms that I've been hearing? Like trauma bonding and
Yeah.
like, gaslighting. You can know all the terms.
Narcissist.
Narcissist. You can know all the terms.
All the terms, right?
Emotion regulation.
Relation.
Again, coping
Emotional
skills.
intelligence.
Right, all of it, all of it. You could throw out these terms, but you don't one know the actual definitions of them, which is another issue that I have with social media because people have often have the incorrect definition of all of those terms we just listed.
Yep.
But again, that's another story. So you can know the terms, but not actually be doing anything with it, right?
Yep.
So, and I think, I remember seeing something too where somebody was talking about like the fact that people are mistaking what soft life is. Right.
Yes.
That's another thing that I think soft life healing. They think soft life is being flown out somewhere, getting your
No.
nails done. It's, doing all the like materialistic things.
Material.
Right.
Right. Right.
And so that's not healing and that's not soft life. Soft life is being able to live a life where you have capacity,
Yeah. Or not a
mental capacity.
stress free
Yes. Well,
life.
I won't say stress free because we're going to experience stress. But
Okay.
how are you managing that stress?
Okay.
Like I mentioned before,
Okay.
are you
Yeah.
aware that the stress is happening? And then
Right.
what are you doing when that stress shows up? Are you
Right.
avoiding? Are
Yes.
you distracting? Right? Some people think that
Yes.
self-care is, I well, let me go to a spa, right? Where I can get the jet
Yeah.
pools and things
I
like
feel like
that. But
they're
if you just come
glamorizing
home,
it.
but if you just come back home to that same stress,
Yeah, that's true.
if you like I said, I'm a traveler. I love to catch me a flight, right? But
Mhm.
if I go on a vacation and I come right back home to the same stress, to the
Stress.
overwhelm, I just prolonged or
Mhm.
procrastinated the stress, right? So you're
Yeah.
not actually healing. You're just distracting, you're procrastinating, you're avoiding, right? You're escaping, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of the time people have to really sit and think about, okay, well, what should soft life actually
Look
feel
like.
like? Not what does it look like on social media? Well, all these little aesthetic-y little videos of what they think looks cute or what looks nice or what's
Absolutely.
expensive, 'cause it doesn't have to be expensive, right? But self-care, coping, healing is more of, and it depends on the area, right? It could be like social healing,
Mhm.
it can be internal healing, emotional healing, it could be physical healing, so it depends. But it can be movement,
Mhm.
right? Exercise, classes, run clubs, that
Mhm.
type of, just getting outside and going for a walk, getting some vitamin D, right? Again, more like physical healing, just what you're eating, right? I mentioned the mind body connection. A lot of people really don't realize how connected, again, like I said before, the body is to the mental, and that includes what
Mhm.
you're eating. If you're over here
Yeah.
eating Chick-fil-A and
Yeah.
pizza and all this other stuff on a regular basis, I'm sorry, I love Chick-fil-A, don't get me wrong, so no shade to them, but in moderation, right? But
Yeah.
all that stuff goes straight to the gut, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize that gut health is connected to anxiety, it's connected to depression, it's connected to brain fog and
Mhm.
poor concentration, distractibility, right? Sometimes insomnia. So again, healthy eating is a form of self-care and
Yeah.
healing. In terms of social healing, setting boundaries,
Mhm.
setting boundaries and not setting walls.
Yes.
There's a difference, right?
Listen, I used to be a grudge holder. Like,
That's setting a
listen,
wall.
I will
Would you tell the person what the issue is, or would you
back
just be
then.
like, nah, yeah,
So back then, no, I would just not talk to them.
that's a wall.
Like, listen, I will do, and I still do it. I no, not like hold a grudge, but
Hmm.
the power of me deleting someone out of my brain like you have not existed when, but
Mm,
but before it was a trauma response.
hmm.
Now it's a boundary. It's a me communicating
Yes.
what you have done,
Yes.
trying to see if you're going to change the behavior, and if
Yes.
you don't change it,
Yes.
then that's when I disassociate, right?
Yes.
But back
Yes.
then, baby, I'm not telling you nothing I don't want to talk
I'm
about.
just
I don't
I'm
care.
just
You know
ghosting,
what
I'm
you did.
blocking.
Yeah,
Right.
you know what you
I'm
did, and
so
that's it,
glad.
right?
I'm so glad you said that because I tell my clients that all the time. I always encourage my clients to communicate. Because if you said to the person what the issue was, they can't come back
Yeah,
and tell you, you didn't tell
right.
me, I didn't know. Yes, you did because I told you. Right.
Yeah,
So I always encourage communicate.
yeah.
Right. And this is again the difference between a boundary and a wall. But a boundary is communicating
Yeah.
giving them the chance to change
Change.
based
Right.
off of the communication. Now, of course, what you want them to change has to be realistic, has to be reasonable. It
Yeah.
can't be like, all right,
Absolutely.
well, you take me on a date once a week. I want you to take me on a date every night. That's not realistic, right?
Right.
So whatever the realistic ask is,
Mm-hmm.
give them a chance to change and implement that change. Now, if they are trying, then cool.
Yeah.
Give them grace. Give them time
That's
to
still
grow
a
in that
change.
space.
Change is if they're trying to
Right.
change something.
Right.
So yes.
Exactly. But if they are minimizing, if they are defensive, if they are not
Yeah.
acknowledging your emotions, and you're giving them a chance to change, and they're still, struggling to implement those things, maybe communicate a second time.
Yeah.
Kind of like a two strikes, three strikes you're out type of thing. Because
Yeah.
maybe they have their own stuff going on. Maybe it's difficult for them, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Hey, I know we spoke, X amount of time ago, and, I
Mm-hmm.
still kind of feel like my needs aren't being met. I would really appreciate if this could happen, right? Give them a second
Mm-hmm.
chance, right? Now, if by that time they're still not,
Yeah.
and they're actively and
Good
clear,
riddance, babes.
right?
Good riddance.
Then I don't blame you for ghosting, for blocking.
Yeah.
Only block if the person is being like a nuisance, right? If they are constantly hitting you up like nonstop, just blowing up your phone, or in that type of way, then yeah, block. But like, communicate that you no longer want to have communication, and you let that be that, right? Versus, again, a wall is just saying, like, I'm just not gonna speak to this person and tell them what they did that hurt my feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's like a social form of self-care. So yeah, so self-care, again, it's not just going to the spa but then continuing life as is. It's not building these walls. It's more so, again, doing the work to make sure that, again, you're building capacity for tomorrow, for the next day, for the next week.
So you think that okay? I gotta. I'm okay. I'm all about the communication part, right? Me
Mhm.
telling you how many times I gotta tell you, right? But then you
Mhm.
also think after they still don't do what they still don't do it or whatever. I need to communicate like, hey, I'm not talking to you no more after that.
Yes, because why not?
Okay. Okay. That's something I gotta work on then.
Why not, right? Because at the end of the day, now they know where you drew the line of the sand. Now
I
they
have
know
done
where you
that
stand.
before. I have done that to certain people. I have not done that for all people.
And
Okay.
I'm guilty. Like I
And
said, I try
yeah.
really hard to practice what I preach. You know what I mean? And
Right,
that's the
right.
thing I feel like
Absolutely.
I like about being a
Yes.
therapist, is that sometimes when I'm in my sessions, I really be talking to myself. Like, I'll be telling my clients, like, have those healthy conversations, set
Yes.
boundaries, not walls, do your self-care,
Right.
manage your emotions. And I be really like, again, like, Renee, you need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I
Right,
try to
right,
hold myself
right.
to that same standard. But
Standard.
when it comes to that, the last question that you had, why not just tell the person, hey, I've communicated 2 to 3 times, or however many times, that these are my expectations, or this is what I'm looking for. And I haven't seen, behavior that aligns with what I'm looking for. And so therefore, I don't think it's healthy for us to remain or keep this dynamic,
Yeah.
this
I
relationship,
have
this friendship, right? So good luck
yeah.
to you. Take care, and, have a good rest of your year, and just keep it like that, right? Now, how that person responds is up to them. They may not respond at all, but then you also know where they stand. If they blow up your
Mhm.
phone, you might need to block them, because now they're disturbing your peace because you set a boundary and they're not respecting it, right? So
Yep.
just to let people, and I say this to say, this shouldn't be your responsibility, or the person who's doing the communicating. It shouldn't be their responsibility.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
being able to have that last line of communication can really help that person realize, like, oh, she really wasn't playing. Oh, he
Yeah.
really meant what he said when he said he wanted this type of boundary or this expectation. And hopefully that'll help them with their next friend, or their next
Yeah.
relationship, or their next, you know what I mean? So, um again, it shouldn't be their responsibility, but
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. I mean, like I said, I haven't done that with every single person, but
mhm.
I've been trying to. I mean, yeah. So, whoever listen.
Okay.
So what? If I cut you off
Me, no, you're
for a
fine.
reason.
Let
How do you know when you're healing versus simply becoming numb?
mm, that avoidance, like I
Mhm.
mentioned before, right? Avoidance, distractions. Um, so speaking of distractions, right? So I often talk to my clients a lot of the time about like when I might encourage distractions and when I discourage it, right? So if
Okay,
a
tell me
person
about when
is
you. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you was
so
gonna go
so
into it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when a person is, let's say, if you are experiencing something emotionally, right, and it's taking you away from being present at work,
Mm-hmm.
checking in with the kids, paying the bills, right? Doing the things that we need to do, I might encourage that you distract because you things still got to get done, right? We still got to take care of
Yeah.
these areas. But if you're in a space where like kids are in bed, it's 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, ain't nothing really going on, you're doom scrolling on your phone, and you have time, space, and opportunity to reflect or to heal or to whatever it is, to journal, do not distract in those moments. Do not doom scroll. Don't just binge. You know, there's a new season, or Love Island has been out, I think, throughout the summer, right? So people have been watching
Yes.
that, right? Don't just start binge watching things and doom scrolling and distracting, or distracting in any other way. That's kind of making yourself numb, right? That's not, again, addressing or being attuned with what's going on within, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so times that I also don't encourage distractions is when a person is experiencing something emotionally, and like we mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, it's difficult, whether that's grief, you know, and grief is not just, you know, someone passing away, but grief is the ending of
Yeah.
something, right? Grief
Yes.
could be the end of a relationship, whether that's a romantic one or a friendship. It could be ending of a job, grief of a goal. Maybe we had a goal, like I
Yeah.
wanted to go to the NBA, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I'm still not over the Knicks win of the championship, so I still have to. I know that was a little while ago, but I'm a New Yorker, so I still gotta mention
No,
that
that was
here.
literally like
But
a couple of days ago. Yeah.
right, right. So, so if a person is, um, again, saying like their goal is to go to the NBA, but they get some type of an injury and now they're not able to go, they have to grieve that goal, right? Grieving a person in terms of not them passing away, but you thought a person was going to be this in your life,
Yeah.
again, whether that's romantic or not, and now you're realizing they're not what I thought that how they were going to be in my life, and so now I have to
Yeah.
pivot or you know, reposition them in my life, or maybe remove them altogether, right? So I say
Mm-hmm.
this to say again, if a person is experiencing grief or, you know, a transition, or if there's something that they actually do need to process and not run away from, do not distract. Sit and take
Yeah.
that time to sit with those emotions. How does this make me feel? Why does it make me feel that way? Right? Is it attached to something from my past? Is it related to trauma? You know, how can I move forward? How can I navigate? What support do I need?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Being able to do that. Those are the things that are actually healing, as opposed to being numb. Being numb is distractions when you have no reason to distract. But your
Mm-hmm.
reason is too difficult. I don't want to. I don't
Right.
have time. That's another thing. People be like, I don't got time. I don't have time to heal. I don't have time for therapy. I don't have time for self-care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a calculator in front of me right now, but because I'm bad with math in my head. But I always use the example of when people say they don't got time. You
Mm-hmm.
got 24 hours in a day, 24 times 7, whatever that is. I'm bad with math. Should we do you got to calculate? We're not gonna do
Mm-hmm.
it, but it's over 100, right? Whatever that number
Yeah.
is. It's maybe like 200, something like that. I don't know. Now so that's, let's just round it. I'm gonna say 150.
Would you say 24 times what?
24 times 7. How many hours
Oh.
are there in a week?
Oh.
This is so bad. I should.
That's 168.
Okay, so let's just let's yeah, I'm gonna say 168 because we're gonna do some math right now, right? So since you have a calculator, I want you to help me with this. So
Mm-hmm.
168 hours in a week.
Mm-hmm.
Your average person works a 40-hour work week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's round it up to 50, just because some people work a little bit longer, right? Overtime, things like that. So mine is
Mm-hmm.
50 hours, right?
So
Now,
118 hours.
okay, now we should be getting 8 hours of sleep. So
Yep.
8 times 7 is 42,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So
Wait.
minus 40.
Yeah.
Is that 42? So minus 42. Now we should be having roughly 3 square meals a day. It doesn't really take you an hour to eat, but let's just say
30
3 hours.
minutes.
Let's say, okay, we could do 30 minutes. So 30 minutes. For the sake of the math, let's just make it easy. Let's do 3 hours a day. So three
Okay.
times seven, was that 18? No, 3 times 7. I'm so bad with math.
21.
21. 21,
21.
right?
So, okay.
Now let's add in some miscellaneous stuff because we got some parents, we got people that taking care of other things, right? Let's even subtract another, I don't know, 2 hours a day. So 2 times 7, 14.
Hmm.
How much time do we got left?
Wait, hold on. You like almost like a regular shift, like 40 hours.
40 hours is still left. Okay, so we could
Yeah,
even let's minus 10. Again, people have things, responsibilities,
yeah,
right? So you still have about 30 hours left in your week.
yeah.
You telling me you can't spend 45 minutes to an hour on a therapy session
Hey,
once a week,
listen.
or even once a week, maybe once a day, spend
When
20
you put
minutes,
it that way,
20 minutes to journal,
when you put it that way,
right? So
when you
when people
look at the
say,
calculations,
now again, everybody's responsibilities are different. So some people's numbers might be way less than 30, 40 hours extra additional
yeah.
a week, right? So and some people's may have people may have more, some people have less, right? So
And
it
it
really
also
depends.
depends on when they're getting up, like what time they're starting
That
their
too,
day.
if they have
Because
overnight shifts.
if you're sitting in a bed and sleeping all day and you're starting your day at 10 or 12 o'clock, then you're
Mhm.
limiting yourself from doing certain things and becoming
Right.
who you want to
Right.
be,
And like,
right?
and I
So
understand that some people might work like, midnight shifts, overnight shifts,
yeah,
and things like that. So their
but then
schedule may be a little different.
they
But
still
they,
have the same 24 hours that everybody else has too.
right. And there's certain things that they can still implement, even if it's,
Yeah,
whether it's during, typical business hours, 9 to 5, or outside of business hours for them. They just have to be intentional about, setting that time aside, right? What does that look like for me?
yeah,
Right. So,
right.
so again, when people tell me I don't have time, yes, you do. You're just not
And
choosing not to use
just
that time.
choosing not to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I forgot what the original question was. Sorry.
No, you
Oh,
said we were
healing
talking
versus
about,
being numb. Yes. So
yeah,
are we taking the time? That's where I was going with this. Taking the time to actually do healing as opposed to avoiding, escaping, distracting. Right. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yep. And I like Love Island, but sometimes I can't watch it. I need to go to bed. So
Right. Like it'll be there tomorrow. You can pause
yeah.
and come back tomorrow.
I used to have to do that because I will watch TV, I will watch movies. I'm a big TV movie person,
Hmm.
and I gotta know what's coming next on the show.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I will sacrifice my sleep for watching it. And then I had to realize, like, I can watch this tomorrow.
Yes. Do not do that
I need
because
to go to bed.
sleep is so important. I think people underestimate how important
How
sleep is, and
important it
not
is.
just going to sleep, but like sufficient quality sleep,
Quality
right? Like,
sleep.
are you getting your REM sleep?
That, what is it called?
REM,
Yeah, that REM
rapid eye
bliss.
movement. Hmm.
I want to, let me tell you, I want to be so deep into my REM. I love sleep. I want to be so deep in my room that I don't have
Yes.
no
Nothing
distractions
is
of
waking
waking
you
up,
up.
like
Right.
nothing.
Right. And
Oh, and
so,
I barely get that, and I hate it. I be so
yeah,
mad. I
they
really
say, I'm sorry, that it takes 4 hours to get into REM sleep. Right? So
mm,
you have to and that's where the 8 hours comes from.
come from. Yeah,
So you want to have the 8 hours to get into REM sleep, or I'm sorry, the 4 hours to
I
get
was to
into
get
REM
into
sleep,
it, and then the four
right? And
hours
then
to
4 hours
actually.
of it. And they sometimes say on average, your typical adult should be having 7 to 9 hours. So
Yeah,
that extra the extra, 1 hour on top of, the eight. Can be like you in the slow wake process, if that makes sense, right? That's what the circadian rhythms really look like. And again, sleep is so important. It impacts every part of your day. And people
it
don't even realize.
does.
Yeah.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
energy
Listen,
levels, how you're responding to people. People irritated first thing in the morning
your
because they didn't have a good
body
sleep.
heals when you're sleeping. So when people
Yes,
lose weight and that's when you lose weight, that's when your body heals.
that's when your food is
Everything
digesting.
happens
Yeah,
when you sleep.
yes,
Listen, I love me a good sleep, but
same.
uninterrupted sleep, oh,
Yes, yes, the
can't
best.
get it. I be striving for it so bad. I had to literally stop myself from drinking water at a certain time like a
Yes,
kid,
yeah.
so I
You don't have
won't
to
wake up
wake
and
up.
go to the
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing. I usually go to bed around like on a weekday, around 10:30 p.m. because I wake up early to go to the
Girl,
gym.
I wish. Girl,
And-
I wish.
but I do that intentionally because I know my sleep is important, right? Because if I'm not going
Yeah.
to sleep, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
edgy, I'm gonna be or on edge, I'm gonna be, and I have clients, and I have to be in the best state of mind, so I'm cognizant of that. But
Yeah.
I stopped drinking anything, water, tea. I don't really drink
Hmm.
like soda or juice or anything like that. But I
Yeah.
stopped drinking 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Cause
Mm.
waking up in the middle of the night to go pee is the worst. Cause I be so mad. I be trying to hold it too. Like, no, don't wake up.
And
Don't
then
get
I
up.
wake
Don't
up
get up. But
multiple
then,
times. I be so mad. I
yes,
be because
yeah,
I've noticed like I be needing something to drink at night, and then
hmm,
I be like, oh shoot, what time is it? 10 o'clock. God
yeah,
dang it.
yeah, yeah. So sleep hygiene is really important too in regards to what we were talking about, healing and self
Yeah.
care and stuff like that. So like, what does your routine look like before you're going to bed?
Yeah.
Are you scrolling on your phone and then you're laying over on the
Yes.
pillow? Or are you doing reflection, before you go to bed? Are you journaling before you go to bed? Are you listening to intentional playlists
Yeah.
before you go to bed? I have like a specific like R&B playlist that I have, and a gospel playlist that they're soothing. They actually have another like a it's like a piano instrumental,
Okay.
so it's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of
Mm-hmm.
different songs, but they're just piano instrumentals, right? So those are my
Yeah.
three. Like when I can't sleep, or when I know I need like the best sleep I can get because I have a busy day the next day, I'll play those playlists, right? So are you taking a shower or a bath before bed? Are you doing maybe skincare? Like what are you doing? Sleep hygiene
Yes.
is really important, and they say that what is it? Going to bed. Is it going to bed? Yes, going to bed as best as possible, because I know everybody's weekdays and weekends are different, but going to bed at the
Hmm.
same time or roughly the same time every night is again helpful for that REM sleep and the circadian rhythms, right? So the
Yes.
time that you wake up should roughly be about the same as well. Again, our weekends may look a little different, but try to keep to the same schedule as close as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a remedy that I use. I mean, a routine that I use, but one thing that I stopped doing in my routine was reflection, and I need to pick back on it because brain dumps my mind
Hmm.
out. So
Yeah,
I won't
it won't be there while you're
my
trying to sleep.
brain exactly, and
Yeah.
that's why I can't go to sleep because my brain is like
Is on overdrive. Yes, exactly.
it's like shut up, girl, go to bed.
and
It's
and
like
but
shut up.
you're what you mentioned about the journaling, like, and just even whether it's journaling, mental reflection, I encourage
Yes.
writing things down, because or
Yes.
saying it out loud, because when you
Yes.
I've heard so many people say in therapy sessions like, oh, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, or it feels real that I'm
Listen.
saying it out loud, or right. And another analogy I'll use is like saying that our thoughts are like a ball of yarn. When
Mm.
you think of a ball of
Mm.
yarn, it's like the
Tangled
one,
up and
it's all it is, right? But
mhm.
when we can write something down, when we can have a conversation about our thoughts or write down our
Yeah.
thoughts, we're unraveling that ball of yarn. So now you can see each thought, each
Listen.
feeling, each whatever it is more clearly, thoroughly, succinctly, right? And that's how you can again do that brain dump, as opposed to
Yeah.
keeping it all like this, all up here.
I be
That helps
talking
a
to
lot.
my dog.
Listen, if that.
I'm a firm believer in talking to myself or talking to my
Hmm.
dog or writing it down. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, absolutely.
I got to get it out. But
Yes.
sometimes recently I have not been in my journal because I've been a little bit busy. But
Okay.
listen, I got to get this. She
Back.
need to go to bed. She needs to go
Yes,
to bed.
whatever you need to do, get it out.
Yes. Okay. What is one uncomfortable truth about wellness, healing that social media does not talk about enough?
What's one uncomfortable truth about wellness and healing that social media doesn't talk about enough?
Yes. Oh,
Uh,
I think you just said it. And I had a thought it went away and now it came back. I think you said grief, and the way you explain grief and how it's not just about losing a person, it's
mhm.
about all of those
Losing
things,
something
losing something
or
like
someone
a right a and it could be anything, and that
mhm,
we don't talk about grief
in
enough
that
and
way.
how it shows in that way and how
Hmm.
it shows up. And I would just think about, oh my god, like we literally don't talk about
Yeah.
that at all, because when
And
grief, that's
and
the reason why we're going through certain things, because we're
mhm.
grieving so much
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And like, even for
Oh my
example,
God.
I know that, our government has been going through a lot in the past, few years. And
Child,
even just
who
last
haven't been?
year, right? A lot of people who probably were government workers for years, 20,
Yes.
30, 40 years, working towards retirement, probably
Mhm.
had to grieve because they got let go. Again, putting blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears into a position, and that, right? So that's grief as well. So yeah, so again, a lot of people have these, perceptions of what mental health
Oh,
terms and topics are.
yes.
Again, the gaslighting, the boundaries, the narcissist, and
The
grief.
trending word toxic,
Yes, it's
right?
it's pop culture.
Yes,
It's not
pop culture.
actual clinical mental health, right?
Yeah.
And again, what I mentioned before, my issue with why it becomes pop culture is because you have your average Joe going on and talking about these topics when, again, they're not uh licensed or credentialed to do so. And then but people are seeing, oh, they got this many followers,
Hmm.
they got a lot of followers, they got a lot of engagement, so they must know what they're talking about. No, they're just an engaging person, right? But
Hmm.
they're actually misleading because they don't have the full clinical background to speak on these topics. And then, so again,
Right.
that their post gets reposted, and then someone shares it to their story, and then they send it to the group chat, and then and then now everyone believes that it's just one thing, that this one person, right? So again,
Mhm.
pop culture has become such a thing, and it's unfortunate in the mental health world how pop culture has evolved and misled a lot of people into thinking things where that's not the case. But so yeah, so grief
Right.
actually looks more than what people typically see it as. But I think another thing in regards to your question, like something that social
Mhm.
media isn't really bringing out, is kind of like what we said before too, that healing is not easy,
Yeah. It's
and
not.
that healing is not done in a vacuum,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Healing takes hard work,
It does.
emotional work, physical work, right? Time, right? A lot of people think, oh, I'll go to therapy for 6 months.
Hmm.
No. Like, I remember I had years ago, I had a client where she was a young girl. She's maybe about like 10 or something like that. She
Hmm.
didn't open up until a year. We were working together
Hmm.
for a year, and she didn't open up until a
She
year.
still didn't. Oh, wow.
Well,
Hmm.
she, whatever her reasonings were, I can't remember because this was maybe about, I don't know, 10, maybe about 10 years ago or so. But,
Hmm.
whether it was she was really slow to warm up, she was mistrusting of others, shy, maybe a combination of all these things, right? But there's things like that. But there's also, for my older clients, older individuals, right? 20s, 30s, whatever it is. You think that 6 months of
Hmm.
healing or of therapy is going to undo or heal or fix or adjust or modify 25 years, 35 years, 45 years of, you get what I'm saying? So like,
Hmm.
it's not going to take 6 months, it's not going to take a
Hmm.
year.
It's not.
If you've been sitting in cycles for 10 plus 20 plus years, however long, it's going to take some time to unlearn those things, right?
Okay.
So I think that,
Yeah.
again, people try to glorify and glamorize
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah.
It looks like going to the spa. You just take a flight. You get your mani and pedi. You do, you go out to a brunch. Get lit, turn up, do all these things, and it's like it takes so
That
much
ain't
more
healing for
work
me.
than.
I'm spending money.
Okay. See, I do the free things. Free things.
Look.
Anything free, I'll pay for some food at a brunch and a little drink. If it comes with something, I'll pay for it. But if not, it needs to be free. Anything free. But yeah. So I think that, again, social media isn't really tapping into the fact that, like, again, it's not just the glitz and the glam and the aesthetics that people are
Yeah.
making it seem like. It's actual work, and
Yes.
it's hard.
It's so hard.
It's so hard,
It's
and
so much.
people, I
So
think that
hard.
people, again, they're seeing things on social media and they're not getting the correct preparation to do the work.
Yeah.
And then when they come in to
Absolutely.
do the work, they're like, "Oh, nah, this is too much. I can't. You asking me to?
Yeah.
I got to do what? I got to
I
process
gotta do
what? I got
what?
to what? I got to go.
Yeah.
Thanks, lady, but no thanks." Right.
Right. Right.
So I think that's like an issue that I've been seeing as well.
Yeah. I used to have funny question. Funny thing you're saying. Like, my best friend, my best friend, he used to be like, why are you always talking to me like as a therapist? Like, I don't need therapist Tiffany right now. I need I
I need
need
my friend to.
regular Tiffany.
Hmm.
And I had to make a switch because sometimes I'd be like, because I value deep connection and
Hmm.
yeah, and deep, right. I had to realize like, oh, maybe I am coming off like that. Right. But
Yeah, it's so funny you give that example because I have a similar example, right? I have a male friend of mine from a few, and it's so funny the males be telling us what it is. But
oh
a
yeah,
male
but
friend
the
of mine from a few years ago, he basically said the same thing. He was telling me about a problem he had, and I was trying to do all my problem solving, my therapeutic problem solving with him, and he was just like, what, you talking to me like I'm one of your clients, like,
yeah, like I don't
right?
need that.
And
Yeah.
I had to sit with that, and I was like, you know what? So that was a few years ago, and so now I'm cognizant of try, and don't get me wrong, no matter who I talk to, especially when I meet newer individuals,
Yeah.
especially newer individuals that are not mental health professionals, I always get the, are you trying to therapize me? You trying to be my therapist? You talking to me like you're my therapist? No, I'm literally just asking you like, how are you?
Yeah. Right, right. But
Like,
I
I'm
feel like a lot of people are not
used to that.
used to that type of communication, like
Yeah,
somebody actually pouring into them, trying to figure out like, hey, are you okay? Why do you
yeah.
respond like that? Or what's coming up for you? What's
Mhm.
coming up in you that's making you do that
Right.
or think
Even
that
just
way?
simple,
Like,
like you said, like asking someone, like, "Hey, how are you?" You know, the typical
yeah,
response, "I'm good, I'm fine." And if
yeah.
I respond with, "You sure? You sure?"
You sure?
They think I'm being a
I say that
therapist.
all the time. Like,
They
you
think I'm being
sure
a
you good?
therapist, but I'm literally just being Renee. Like, I could have
Yeah,
been in the fashion industry, I could have been in IT, I could have been in
yeah,
any other field, and I still would have asked the same question, right? So, but I
yeah,
think it is kind of like what you said. A lot of people are not used to people checking in with them in those ways, so they think that because I'm doing it, I'm trying to therapize. Is not a word, but they think I'm trying to therapize them, and I'm really not. I'm just like, you good, friend? Like, are you like? I'm really just trying to
yeah,
ask the questions.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. Hmm. If someone was listening who feels overwhelmed, exhausted, and stuck, what's the first thing they should do today to begin feeling better?
Mm. I think we talked about a lot of things that actually that they could probably do. So I'm just going to run back some of the stuff we
Yeah.
talked about. But I think
For
this,
my listeners, if you guys are feeling this way at this moment,
yes, first and foremost, pause.
yeah.
Just take a minute to pause. Stop.
Hmm.
Stop doing. Stop thinking.
Thinking, yes,
Right? Stop moving. Just pause and sit with yourself for a moment.
I love that.
Right? What does that feel like? Is
Hmm.
that uncomfortable?
Yeah,
Does it feel good? Maybe.
yeah,
Or you're indifferent, you're not sure, right? What comes up? What sensations do you feel? Right? So that's the first thing is pause. And then
I love that.
once you've kind of been able to pause, right? Stop thinking, stop moving, stop feeling, that opens a lane for the reflection, which when you reflect, and if you're doing it effectively, there
Hmm.
should be some self-awareness there as well,
Hmm.
right? Of again, all right, I've been feeling tense and on edge at work all week. Why is that? Oh, it's because, three people just got fired or laid off in the past month. So
Hmm.
I'm feeling this way because I'm,
Hmm. 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 Now I can. The sound went out, and I was just like,
okay.
I
Oh,
wanted
okay. I
to
don't know
see
if you heard. All right.
if it.
I'll kind of go back and repeat some of what I mentioned. But again, like sitting with yourself, pausing, right? That'll allow for reflection and self awareness, and then coming up
Hmm.
with the action plan after the fact, right? Now, the action plan doesn't have to come soon after the reflection and the self awareness because sometimes people go quick into, all right, well, I gotta solve, I gotta fix, I gotta do,
That's so
I
true.
gotta
Yeah.
manage. Sometimes you
Yeah.
just need to be,
Yeah.
just
Ooh,
recognize, right? You
I
don't
was
have to
just
do all
talking
the
about
jump
that.
into fix mode. That's that survival mode, that
Yeah.
reactivity mode that I mentioned at the beginning, right?
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
being, you're
Yeah.
trying to be strong. Oh,
Yes.
I feel tense. I gotta go schedule a massage real quick. No, why do I feel tense?
Right.
Sit with that first, right? Identify that first, right? That's emotional. We talk about emotional intelligence. That's emotion. That's self emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would encourage. Again, you do want to still have an action plan eventually,
Mhm.
right? But it doesn't have to be, okay, boom, I sat and paused for 5 seconds, then I self-reflected and had some awareness for 2 minutes, and then boom, I'm jumping to my action plan. Now the
Right.
action plan could take a week. It could. But as long as you identify something, because again, like I mentioned before, early on, like you could be aware, but you still need to make the change. But
Yes,
sometimes we need
absolutely.
time to be able to implement that change.
Brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Give yourself
Yeah.
grace
Mm-hmm.
for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah. I
Absolutely.
love it. Listen, this conversation was very insightful. It was amazing. The
Agree.
amount of things that we talked about, so insightful, like, oh my goodness. Guys,
Mhm.
listen.
And I feel like because, and not to sound biased because I'm a mental health professional, but these topics are so needed because,
Yeah.
your audience, I'm pretty sure everybody that's part of your audience could identify with at least one, maybe two, if not all the topics we talked about.
Yeah,
Right. So like
absolutely.
these mental health conversations, and I like to have these mental health conversations because again, it's widely recognizable by
Hmm.
all of us, right? We're human.
Yeah.
So we all
Yeah.
experience emotions. And that's another thing too. I know, we're about to wrap up, but a lot of people will say, people that are still a little hesitant and, ambivalent around mental health and therapy. I ain't got no mental health. I ain't got no issues. I don't need therapy.
Hmm.
First of all, because you are a human,
Everybody. Yeah.
you experience mental health. Stress is
Yes.
mental health. Fatigue is mental health.
Yeah.
Anger is mental health, right? It's not just
Yeah.
bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
It's not just narcissistic personality disorder. It's
Yeah.
not just, it's not just ADHD. It's those are um mental illnesses or mental
Yes.
diagnoses, right?
Yes.
So if you have
Right.
something diagnosable, that's one thing, right? And not everybody has a
As that.
diagnosable mental health, concern, right? But everybody
Yeah.
has mental health
Right.
because you are a human being. We all experience emotions. Mental health is how we function day to day based off of our emotions. Again, like I mentioned, that
Yes.
CBT based off of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. That's what
Hmm.
mental health is. And like I mentioned in the beginning, we all experience that. I'm doing this triangle because it's called
Yeah.
the CBT triangle.
Right.
Like when you
Yes.
think of like the recycling triangle with the
Hmm.
arrows, right? It's like thoughts are up here, feelings are down here, behaviors are down
You
here.
go.
Again, we
Yes.
all experience that. So we all experience mental health. So we all need to check in with our own mental health care, whatever that looks like for you.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. This was so
Yes, thank
insightful,
you.
guys.
Thank
This was
you.
amazing conversation. Guys, Renee, please tell us what you have going on. We talk about your therapy business and also your holistic brand that you have.
Okay.
We want to know how can we support you, okay?
Okay, absolutely. So, yes, you gave, the little bio, the little intro in the beginning. So, primarily, the first thing that I like to tell people about is my private practice. So that's Core
Hmm.
Therapy and Healing, which is a 100% virtual practice. I am licensed in New York. Again, like I mentioned, I'm from New York, Maryland, and I just renewed my Virginia license. So anybody in Virginia looking for a therapist, I'm here. And so I work with clients between the ages of 14 and 40. Now, I know that sounds like a weird age range, but if you think about it, adolescence, early adulthood, and middle adulthood, there's a lot going on in that time, right? You got
Yes.
puberty, you got graduating college or going into the working world, you got now you in your 30s, and again, maybe you're grieving. Okay, well, I thought I wanted kids, now I don't. I thought I was gonna be married right now, but I'm not, right? So those age ranges are very pivotal, right? So I
Milestone,
work with
yeah,
those
ages.
age
Yeah.
ranges on things such as anxiety, depression, grief, trauma, PTSD, emotion regulation, things of that nature. So I work with primarily individuals, but I do some family therapy as well for the minors. So that's the therapy practice. Now,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the practice, I am open for speaking engagement. So, like I mentioned, I did a mental health panel in June for Men's Mental Health Month. I've done a couple of webinars in 2026. And so, any workshops or speaking engagements, conferences, I am available for that. Let's see, I have my certification in herbalism. And so, the part of the reason why I got that is because, again, I've been a therapist for over 10 years. And understandably so, I've had a lot of clients that are hesitant to take medication for their mental
Mm-hmm.
health. And so again, understandably, listen, I like I mentioned before, I have anxiety. I was prescribed anxiety meds back in like what, 2020, I want to say. I was
Mm-hmm.
hesitant. I took it, didn't like it. It gave me more anxiety. So I figured this is not for me. What else can I do? So I got into my essential oils, my aromatherapy. I got into more holistic practices. Now, for a few years, I was doing some holistic practices, but I was like, wait, how can I implement this or bring this into my sessions for my clients that
Yeah.
might want some holistic healthcare, right? So
Yeah,
I got my,
absolutely.
again, certification in herbalism. And so I now have a line of herbal wellness products, right? So what medication can do, herbs can do as well, maybe a little bit differently. There's
Mhm.
go into all of it, but herbs can be very healing as well. If you think about it, before medications and the
They
pharmaceutical
use
companies
herbs.
existed, we used herbs, right, back in the day.
Absolutely, yes.
So I have, again, a line of herbal wellness products. I have herbal teas, herbal tinctures, which tinctures are similar to teas. They just are like a herbal liquid extract. So you put a
Mhm.
couple of drops in a
Right.
drink of your choice or in a coffee or a tea or whatever it is. So herbal teas, tinctures, essential oil roller balls. I also have two journals currently. I have an anxiety journal and a setting healthy boundaries without guilt journal.
Love that.
And then when I do in-person events, when I vend at in-person events, I also have different wellness drinks, right? And so these wellness drinks are, they have different purposes, but they have some of the herbal extracts that are in some of my teas, and they help with calming, they help with relaxation, they help with, it's kind of promoting ease and kind of like stress relief.
Hmm.
So those are all of my products. And last but not least, I have been getting into the space of how else can I maximize and, build upon my business. And so I have been getting into the space of event hosting, right? So in July, end of July, I actually hosted a event, my first event, and it's called Core, or it was called Core Kickback, right? So
Hmm.
basically, what that was is a therapist-led day party. Right. And so,
Hmm.
how I came up with that concept is, I wanted to host an event and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Do I just do like a self care workshop or a panel or, a candle make? Like, these things have been done before, right? And love that people are still doing them. Those are great. But I, again, like we said before, what sets me apart? How
Hmm.
can I be different, right? So I was like, all right, how can I combine my personality with, my credentials, right? I love me a day party. I love me a brunch, right?
Hmm.
For all my Caribbean people, I love me a fete, right? A Caribbean party. So I figured, how can I combine a day party with mental health? So the core
Hmm.
kickback is literally a therapist led day party. So there was music, there was food, there was drinks, there was vibes, culture, there was networking, but there was also mental health activations throughout. So in terms of the an affirmation station, right? So you choose affirmations and you converse with people about those affirmations and why those hit home for you. There was the excuse me, sorry, there was the release it wall. So you're releasing certain things, but then you're also like picking up things that you want to now embody or you want to live by or what aligns with you, so just again, different mental health activations. So you get a dose of fun, again, fun, good time, networking, just being around good energy, good vibes, good people, but also tending to that mental health, self
Hmm.
care, healing side at the same time. So I'm
I
looking to
love
do
that.
another one. I don't know when, but I would love to do another one. Just again to provide, mental health related events for people in the community.
Yes, we love it. We love
Yes,
to
thank you,
see it.
thank
Love to
you.
hear about it. Guys, all of her information will be in the description below, guys. This
I
was an
can
amazing.
I can also mention really quickly, yeah. So if anybody did want to reach out, so my email address is info@coretherapyandhealing.com. The website is www.coretherapyandhealing.com. If you're interested in following me on Instagram, on TikTok, or on YouTube, it's the same thing at core. Well, it's core_therapy and healing. So those are my handles for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I'm also on LinkedIn, and it's Renee Anorue, ReneeAnorue.
Yes, guys. All her information will be in the description below. Renee, thank you so much for this amazing, insightful conversation,
Yes, thank you for
guys.
having me.
Of course. Guys, thank you for tuning into the Black Impact Podcast. I am Tiffany, your host, and we will be back with another episode, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to my beautiful guests and also the Black Impact. And we'll see you.